Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thanks for spending some time with us. Shift sweats, Dems dissolve, Bondi dominates. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Today was supposed to be their big moment. With AG Pam Bondi on the Hill, the Democrats on the Senate Oversight Committee thought they'd flip the script on Team Trump. They thought they'd nail Bondi and Trump on weaponization, using government to punish people's political opponents, even as new shocking evidence shows that's precisely what Democrats did. As Chicago and Portland boil over and as the federal government remains shut down, the Democrats' focus was on protecting disgraced former FBI director Jim Comey and criminal aliens. It didn't go well for him.
If you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured by Congress for lying with your
We can stipulate to, you can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic members of the committee.
Personal attacks? You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking.
But what we're interested in,
borders are.
what we're interesed in is the answer to these oversight questions.
You want your,
so
no,
you were asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Schiff should be behind bars. The ultimate insurrectionist, a man who tried to subvert Trump's entire first term based on lies and smears. But of course, that's their playbook. Accuse Trump of what they've already done, hoping the media will echo it long enough to confuse the public. But Bondi didn't blink. She turned the focus where it belongs, back to their record.
Operation Arctic Frost was an unconstitutional, undemocratic abuse of power. During Arctic Frost, the FBI also placed 92 linked Republican individuals and Republican groups, such as Charlie Kirk's Turning Point, on their list. This is the kind of conduct that shattered the American people's faith in our government. We are ending this weaponization.
It's over. And Arctic Frost, by the way, it wasn't some inadvertent mistake by a low-level staffer or some policy error. It was a full-blown attempt at a political dragnet authorized by the Biden DOJ and the FBI, launched in April of 2022. Now, officials used their preliminary analysis powers to collect communications from Republican senators, party organizers, and conservative activists, as Attorney General said, like Charlie Kirk. Now, this all came to light because of the work of Senators Charles Grassley and Ron Johnson. And this fishing expedition run by agents working for the Special Counsel's office, Jack Smith, was coordinated with 13 field offices and resulted in the issuance of, we're told, 50 subpoenas. So 8 Republican senators were targeted without legal justification. Lindsey Graham, Marsha Blackburn, Ron Johnson, Josh Hawley, Cynthia Lummis, Bill Hagerty, Dan Sullivan, and Tommy Tuberville. They were all spied on. This wasn't national security. It was an attempt at partisan surveillance. FBI Director Kash Patel tweeted, "They tracked GOP senators. They weaponized law enforcement. That era is over." We sure hope so. And he also confirmed that CR-15 surveillance unit had been dismantled and agents involved have been fired. But understandably, senators want answers.
What do I have to show to get the phone records of a sitting United States senator?
You would have to have cause.
Can you tell me why my phone records, when I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, were sought by the Jack Smith agents? Do you think that was an abuse of power?
Senator, I cannot discuss whether there is or is not an ongoing investigation.
Well, when a sitting senator has to ask why his phone records were sought by an opposing political party, something is deeply broken. And yet Democrats sat in silence at those parts of the discussion. No words of concern, not one word of outrage. Now, I agree with what Chuck Grassley said when he said that based on the evidence to date, Arctic Frost and related weaponization were arguably worse than Watergate. Because the abuse by the Biden sleazoids was broad, sweeping in the RNC, the Republican Attorneys General Association, and 92 conservative individuals. If Watergate was about breaking into a political campaign headquarters, Arctic Frost was about breaking into an entire political party. And that's why Democrats are panicking. The facts are coming to light, and they have nowhere to scatter.
Are you firing career prosecutors solely because they worked on cases like January 6th that the president doesn't like?
Senator Hirono, I am not going
Yes
to talk
or no?
about personnel matters with you.
I think you should stop with your continuous interruptions, in my opinion. Mr. Chairman, I just want to close by saying that what was once the Department of Justice has become the Department of Revenge and Corruption.
Oh, that's some good writing there. So what did they do today? Well, they just deflected. They shouted. They kind of droned on as she did. And they tried to relitigate things like 2016 and January 6th. It's all they know.
And I think it's been confirmed by the White House they are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
You voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here. Our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will.
I think that was the defining moment of the hearing today. Bondi wasn't just defending her record or Trump's record. She was defending the basic right of every American to have safe cities where criminals, not law-abiding residents, live in fear. And by the same token, no American should fear being targeted by the DOJ or the FBI because of their political affiliation. But the same people who are willing and wailing about Bondi's partisan hit squad were the same ones who not only greenlit Arctic frost, but were fine censoring dissent on social media and using skewed, phony intel to get and torment Trump and smear conservatives. And at least one senator thinks heads should roll.
People need to be fired over it, not just these FBI agents, but let's go after Jack Smith. Let's go after the people that pulled the trigger to go after a sitting president of the United States, Donald Trump.
Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and President Trump are dismantling that system piece by piece, returning the Department of Justice to its core mission, enforcing laws equally, not politically. And, you know, that actually terrifies the permanent class in Washington. They've gotten away with so much for so long, they don't know which way to turn. So Democrats left today's hearing looking divided, defensive, and desperate. The party that once claimed to protect democracy is now exposed as the party that subverted it. They're leaderless, they're rudderless, and out of arguments. And that's the angle.
So the city of Portland was just paid a very special visit by the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. She rolled into Rip City and inspected Antifa's mini Confederacy and then picked up a migrant, Chris Hansen style.
No, not let you out. You're under arrest. You're under arrest. You waited until we detained you. So now you will be removed from this country and never given the chance to come back.
The heat must be getting to them because we're noticing dissension in the Antifa ranks.
Before you give this guy more clickbait and make him more money, before you give him more money for clickbait by raising your voice, go and fight the government.
Yo, come on.
Idiot.
When ICE vans are able to bust through the barricades Antifa's thrown up around their building, they're nailing the worst first. A fentanyl trafficker, a murder suspect, sex predators, pedophiles, all iced in Oregon. Immigration police have been getting pelted with rocks, laser beamed, and loogied. But Democrats say it's all smoke and mirrors.
Protesters are peaceful, but they have videographers behind them, and then they start throwing down pepper balls and tear gas to film it to try to create the impression of chaos.
Ah, yes, the Vietnam War would have gone so much better if it wasn't for those stupid people filming it. Our hippie-loving grandparents still think we're fighting Charlie in the jungles of Southeast Asia. While Grantifa serenades us with song, New York Times columnists are in Portland playing peekaboo.
Be careful. Portland is on fire. Our president says so. The rival gangs fighting. The clouds of tear gas all around us. Be careful. But actually, this isn't a war zone, whatever Trump says. This is perfectly peaceful.
Legacy media doesn't have any reporters filming the riots, and that's how the chief of police likes it. What bothers him are the journalists who are fair and balanced.
What we're seeing with the increased national attention is bringing in nationally recognized influencers. They're going where they can get the views and create the perception.
That's Chief Bob Day. The chief thinks the guy with the selfie stick at the riots is the problem, not the loon strapped with a machete. Bob isn't just a police chief, he's a DEI consultant. Chief Day took a hiatus during the Summer of Love to go work for a DEI nonprofit called the Red Door Project. What's their mission? Reimagine policing. This is what Bob was doing with his time before Antifa burnt down Portland the last time.
If you ask the majority of people of color, as well as the majority of police officers, they would describe their relationship as, in worst case, one of war.
I don't believe that within the policing community we have handled the conversation of bias and racism, prejudice very well. The reality is these challenges are only going to increase. We need to do something different.
Chief Bob, who I bet still wears a white dudes for Harris hat on the weekends, hasn't been able to stop Antifa assaulting immigration officers for the last 100 days. And now we know why. Bob and his men are helping Antifa stay out of trouble.
We have a good reason why we actually need them, so that's why we're asking people to get out of the street. Is it illegal to get out of the street? They could arrest you, but we're asking you guys voluntarily, let's just get on the sidewalks, because if a car comes through and hits somebody, it's a better way for the government to say we can make defense.
Antifa is spitting on officers, and Bob is coaching them on how not to get arrested. Portland won't help ICE pick up bad hombres, but they'll help Antifa. Christy Nones sat down and Bob and had a word this afternoon, and by the looks of it, Bob didn't seem very happy with the way the meeting went. Over in Chicago, same thing. Mayor Johnson created no ICE zones after agents got Benghazi'd. When an Antifa, Bonnie and Clyde, rammed agents with their cars, there was a call for backup, but a stand-down order went out on the radio. They got booked, but a Democrat-backed judge just released them for having good ties to the community. The woman, who's a teacher, is accused of following ICE agents in the car for 30 minutes, doxing them live on Facebook, had a gun in the car, and rammed them. Prosecutors say they're extremely dangerous. ICE agents already have bounties on their heads, and these judges are making it too easy. A Latin King shot caller just put out a $10,000 hit out on a Border Patrol commander. Whose side are these people on? One of the rioters who got charged for felony aggravated battery outside the ICE facility in Chicago was a University of Chicago professor. What did she teach? Sociology, of course. She happens to teach a course on animal behavior. That's interesting. The media is literally telling crazies to harass police.
If ICE can show up and bother some guys at their roofing job, then bystanders should be able to bother ICE at their state-sanctioned kidnapping job. It is only fair.
The left's also putting pressure on small businesses. After they firebombed their stores during the Summer of Love, rioters are now saying, don't cooperate with ICE. You have a nice store there. Hate to see you lose it.
We demand that businesses like the Yards Plaza owned by Freeman Properties stop giving immigration authorities access to their parking lots. Stop enabling them to carry out even more terror in our neighborhoods.
You never see the left fight this hard for Americans. If they can just take 10% of the effort they're wasting on criminal illegals and have it used on us, the country would be in great shape. People are getting killed, and the city of Chicago is trying to set up micro-confederacies to protect rapists from a foreign land.
An illegal alien from Nicaragua grabbed a woman on the north side last week, bashed her head into the sidewalk, knocked her unconscious, and raped her. If that had been your wife, Stacey.
Okay, all right, we're not going to answer it. Thank you. Thanks, Will.
All right. Would you want ICE to deport her?
All right.
Let's move on.
Moving on. The Chicago Marathon is this weekend. People from all over the world are flying in to race. And the mayor thinks Homan is going to handcuff Mexican runners at the finish line.
We've gotten word that roughly 3,000 runners from Mexico have signed up for this marathon. And I want all of them to come. I want them all to come. I believe the best way in which we can demonstrate resistance is not bending the knee to tyranny.
Tyranny is when you're too afraid to leave your house on the south side. Americans fear crime, not ICE. Illegals fear ICE, and they should. Especially now that Greg Abbott's sending the National Guard to Chicago. First, Abbott bust Biden migrants into Illinois to make blue states feel like border states. That kind of helped Trump win the election. And now Trump says, Abbott, can you send the Guard back to pick them up and take them home? 200 troops are rolling in, and Pritzker's calling them the N-word.
In the early days of the Nazi regime, they started slowly but surely taking away people's rights. And what we're seeing now is the very same thing.
Same thing as the Nazi regime? Really? They tried to kill Trump twice already. I know he can't control himself, but J.B. Beck better watch his mouth. The FBI has arrested almost 9,000 criminals in this year's crime sweep. Illegal crossings along the border have plummeted to the lowest level since 1970. Trump ran on keeping the borders and streets safe. It's the reason he boosted his turnout with blacks.
For them to manipulate this now, to make it look like the troops are coming in to attack black people. No. They're coming in to do what we asked them to do, and that is to get these illegals out of our communities.
Ribbs is now going full tinfoil hat. J.B. Beck says if they don't stop this N-word, he's going to steal the midterms.
I fear that what they're going to do is deploy these folks eventually to polling places and say they're protecting the vote. Do what he said he might do in 2020, which is use the military to confiscate the ballot boxes and count the votes.
It's official.
New hoax alert. New hoax alert. New hoax alert.
There is crime in American cities, but the way to deal with it is get the funding that you need for police, get the training that you need, and work with local officials.
This is a pretext to stop the next election.
Why would Trump want to stop blacks in Chicago from voting? Every election, he gets bigger black turnout. Why would he stop it? I have a feeling that if Democrats don't win back the House, they're going to tell their base that ICE rigged the vote. To them, nothing matters anymore. Senators are still backing a guy who said he wants to put 2 bullets in Republicans' heads.
Jay has apologized. The statements that he made were indefensible, but I've known Jay Jones for 25 years. I think those statements were not in character, and he has apologized. I wish other people in public life would sincerely apologize for stuff. So, no, I still am a supporter.
So the left will cancel you for posting a meme in high school and then turn around and tell you to elect a guy who says he wants Republicans' children to die. You know what this means, right? Republicans should never have to throw any of their own overboard ever again. These are the new rules. You can say anything and survive. This is one thing that Democrats do understand. Politics is about power, and you can't implement your principles if you don't have power. Republicans should take heed. We're not saying be as crazy as they are, because senators are lunging at cabinet secretaries and then claiming it never happened.
You know, you want order in here now, yet you stormed the Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. You sure didn't have order that day, did you, Senator?
Attorney General, you are under oath. I did not storm the secretary.
He's a lunge denier. Democrats lunged at cabinet secretaries, and months later, people are ramming ICE agents with their cars. What did you think was going to happen? Politicians set an example. But J.B. Beck, not a real man, doesn't want to protect women, says Noem is just a little baby girl.
She needs to get out. Grow up. She's dressing up as a law enforcement officer and jumping in as if she's trained to do any of this. She's not. And she shouldn't be part of this at all. In fact, she's getting it all wrong. And she's, in fact, ginning it up, causing problems.
welcome to Hannity. And breaking tonight, a reckoning and political earthquake now underway in the Washington, D.C. swamp. The FBI Director, Kash Patel, will join us in just a moment to break it all down, because right now, as we speak, the truth is more obvious than ever. Democrats, deep state operatives in both the Obama and Biden administration, in their DOJs, their FBIs, people in our intelligence agencies, in other words, deep state operatives, as we have been telling you about all these years, absolutely tried, absolutely failed to, quote, remake our great republic, our constitutional republic, into something truly Orwellian. The damage is incalculable, and now, thankfully, it is all being exposed, and now it will be corrected. Now, we have been more right on this show than we ever knew. A lot to report tonight. For years, they tried to co-opt every three-letter department in our federal government and turn these very powerful institutions against Republicans, conservatives, and especially all things Donald J. Trump. And finally, tonight we can report transparency, accountability have now arrived. Now, we have multiple developing stories tonight. John Solomon will join us with the latest bombshell. For example, one example confirming that Joe Biden's efforts to hide the family syndicate business dealings with Burisma, and another involving Bill Clinton's questionable dealings himself. And just last night, another shocking allegation of abuse. As it turns out, former DOJ hack Jack Smith, who attempted to lock up President Trump during his presidential campaign, was also using the federal government to spy on several U.S. senators and Republicans, of course. And needless to say, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, not too happy. Take a look.
Can you tell me why my phone records, when I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, were sought by the Jack Smith agents? Why did they ask to know who I called and what I was doing?
They knew who he called, where he called from, where the call was received, who he was talking to. Senator Graham will join us with reaction. He is rightly teed off. But let us be clear. This is 10 times worse than anything alleged against Richard Nixon during Watergate. Yet Democrats, the legacy media mob, they don't really seem to care. And frankly, many in the media mob were complicit in the cover-up of all of this and, of course, responsible. They were out there night after night, year after year, peddling lies and conspiracy theories like the Trump-Russia hoax. It was all debunked. It was all a lie. No correction, no apology, nothing. Now, that's because they support a government that targeted their political rivals, that didn't support their political agenda. Now, that's what they wanted, and they hate President Trump for exposing them. Take a look at what's happening right now. Donald Trump is ending this weaponization of our DOJ, instead directing the vast resources of your federal government to improve safety in American cities. He's arresting gang members, violent criminals, deporting illegal immigrants, especially criminal aliens. And the Democratic Party, they are seething with nothing but rage. They're not restoring law and order and safety and security. No, they're supporting defund, dismantle, no bail laws, reimagine the police, and let's send in the social workers. But today on Capitol Hill, the Attorney General Pam Bondi exposed one Democrat after another to their faces, starting with the congenital liar Adam Schiff himself. You're going to love this play we have for you. Take a look.
FBI Director Patel said there was no case. And Caroline Leavitt is one of the most trustworthy human beings I know.
So
and,
was she,
Senator Schiff,
was she
if
right?
you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured by Congress for lying.
You're the Attorney General. This will be your decision. Will you support?
You don't have to tell me what is my decision and what is not my decision. I said you can talk to Director Patel.
You don't have to try to.
You think you've got a gotcha with Tom Homan, our border czar, who's been out there fighting for our country since Donald Trump took office.
I'm trying to ask a question. Regular order, please. Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump
so
for trying to impeach him?
I guess the answer is you won't support that request.
After you now know that Joe Biden tried to cover up Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine.
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight?
Excuse me, you can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day today.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be.
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. The members of this committee on a bipartisan basis demand answers to those questions and refuse to accept
Clearly you're a failed lawyer
refuse
because
to
you don't
accept,
understand when
excuse
someone
me,
can and cannot
refuse
answer
to
a
accept
question.
I admit, I loved every second of it. Well said, Madam Attorney General. Also, by the way, she had tough words for Illinois Senator Dickey Durbin, who is furious. Why? Because President Trump is doing something he's never lifted a finger to do, and that is restore law and order and bring safety and security to the city of Chicago. Take a look.
They are going to transfer Texas National Guard units to the state of Illinois. What's the rationale for that?
Yeah, Chairman, as you shut down the government, you voted to shut down the government, and you're sitting here, our law enforcement officers aren't being paid. They're out there working to protect you. I wish you loved Chicago as much as you hate President Trump. And currently, the National Guard are on the way to Chicago. If you're not going to protect your citizens, President Trump will. Your city has a murder rate 5 times higher than New York's. 571 homicides last year. If you were serious about protecting your people, you would be asking this administration for help. You're saying that we're coming into your state and your city. We're there to help make America safe and Illinois safe, whether or not you want to.
Now, the Attorney General also called out Richard Blumenthal's questionable character. This was a great moment. Take a look.
Senator Blumenthal, I cannot believe that you would accuse me of impropriety when you lied about your military service.
I am
you
not
lied.
asking
You admitted you
I am
lied
not
to be
accusing you
elected
of
a U.S. senator.
impropriety.
You
I'm asking
lied.
you
How
about
dare you? I'm a career prosecutor.
with Mr.
Don't you
Ballard,
ever challenge my integrity.
had
I have
apparently-
abided by every ethics standard. Do not question my ability to be fair and impartial as Attorney General.
Wow, checkmate again. And last but not least, Attorney General Bondi also embarrassed Alex Padilla. Most people have probably already forgotten about this lawmaker. Remember the guy from California? The reminder, he was a senator dragged out of the DHS press conference while getting physical with law enforcement after rushing toward Secretary Noem. Take a look.
Attorney General Bondi, you are the Attorney General of the United States. Director Patel reports to you. Do you believe he's doing a good job, yes or no?
I believe Director Patel is doing a great job. You know where he is right now, Senator Padilla? Right now, you asked me a question.
Yes,
Director
I know
Patel
where he
right
is,
now
and I know where
is in
he's headed
Chicago,
because you said
Senator
it earlier
Durbin,
in the hearing.
fighting to keep
You said it
Chicago
earlier in the hearing, and yes, I have been paying
You
attention.
know, you want order in here
Chairman.
now, yet you stormed the Director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. You sure didn't have order that day, did you, Senator?
Attorney General, you are under oath. I did not storm the secretary, the video.
Oh, that was
makes
on
very
video. That
clear.
video's been released, I believe.
I would say she characterized it right. I agree with her. Anyway, this was a master class in calling out hypocrisy on the left. Unfortunately, over the past 2 decades, the Democratic Party has now morphed from a liberal organization into a group of far-left bullies, radicals, who only care about one thing, political power. They are motivated by one thing, rage and hatred towards all things President Trump. And thanks to the President, the Attorney General, the FBI Director, Kash Patel, who will join us in a minute, thankfully, the rule of law is being restored in Washington, D.C.
Thank you very much. Remember, just pass the tip jar to your left and no coins. Happy Tuesday, everyone. So it's day 7 of the government shutdown. True, even the congressional barber shop has been closed for a week, which, judging by our latest photo, is not good news for Rashida Tlaib. Yeah, Harry. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said Trump officials want to create a war zone in Chicago to send in more troops. True, the only time J.B. wants to see ice is if it's followed by cream. AOC called on her supporters to laugh at MAGA men and their insecure masculinity. Then she pointed to her example of someone secure in their manhood. Wow. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo appeared on The View yesterday. It's the first time he's been surrounded by women he didn't want to grope. That might be the solution. According to the FBI, Biden Special Prosecutor Jack Smith actually spied on sitting Republican senators. Yeah. So I guess that makes 2 cameras in Lindsey Graham's toilet. I don't know what that means. Amazon Prime came under fire from outraged fans for removing guns from its James Bond artwork. True, after the guns were eliminated, viewers thought License to Kill was about a female driver. When Jake Tapper texted President Trump and asked him what happens if Hamas insists on staying in power, Trump responded, complete obliteration, which is what Kamala said when Jake asked her what she was doing Friday night. Finally, a judge gave the man who attempted to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh only 8 years in prison after he began identifying as a woman. You don't say, said the Menendez sisters.
All
right, I'll take it. I'll take it. All right, so let's talk about Jay Jones, the Democrat running for AG in Virginia, who once sent texts expressing a desire to kill Republican colleague Todd Gilbert. He texted, quote, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in the crew with the 2 worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. So not only is Jay Jones a psychopath, but he's about as funny as Jimmy Kimmel. But when the recipient to those texts expressed shock, Jones tripled down like Jerry Nadler when the McRib came back. Claiming Gilbert's kids were little fascists, and he even hoped that they would die too. Now, in a sane world, the Democrats would tell this guy to move to Ireland and pound Guinness and soda bread with Rosie. I mean, this guy wants to lead Virginia's justice system? Surely there must be someone better, right? Isn't Jerry Sandusky up for parole soon? Nope. A former Biden aide defended the guy, calling his text messages a private conversation. Yeah, so were Tyler Robinson's and his trans lover. What's your point, asshat? CNN watered down the headline, claiming he was simply facing pressure over resurfaced text messages, which is like saying Jeffrey Dahmer was under scrutiny over some leftovers he found in his fridge. Virginia Dems refused to call on him to step down, including Abigail Spamberger, the Dems candidate for governor. Then again, she's urging supporters to embrace their rage and let it fuel them. So face it, the entire party is behind this guy. He's got almost 200 endorsements from local and national Dems. Now, Jay did end up apologizing, saying he was deeply, deeply sorry for looking like Tiger Woods. But it was as believable as Bill Clinton getting herpes from a wrestling mat. But I get it. We've all had texts that we regret. I mean, who hasn't gotten drunk and sent a dick pic? I'm sure Joy Reid's done it. But if you read his text, there was no remorse, for he was violence signaling, which has replaced virtue signaling among the left. And now he's even accusing his opponent of dropping smears through Trump-controlled media organizations. Yeah, Trump controls the media, and Chris Christie controls the salad bars. But I get it. Private texts are meant to be private, but that's not what I care about. I'm more amazed how the Dems still live in denial as it becomes clear that so much of their party foments dehumanizing rage. And here I was thinking white nationalists were the real threat.
Stand up against the poison of white supremacy, as I did in my inaugural address, to single out as the most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
All right, old man. But now violence signaling is the rage. We see thousands of Dems on campuses, ICE facilities, on the streets seeking social validation through the threat of mayhem. They express extreme behavior to gain allegiance to a culture that rewards it. Even today on October 7th. 2 years since Hamas massacred hundreds, thousands of people. But what happened after that? Gleeful leftists tore down posters of abducted kids. They celebrated attacking a music festival by attacking neighborhoods. Why would anybody tear down those posters while laughing? Where does it come from? Well, where did the attempt on Trump's life come from? Or the sniper attack on ICE, or the torching of Tesla cars? Charlie Kirk's assassination, and Ghul's text wishing death on children. They're all of a piece. Actions resulting from the same dehumanizing narrative. If they say you're a Nazi, then they can treat you like one. They abused language so much, the people that murder children are now the good guys. And what of the Dems who clap back with, hey, it's not all of us, and what about you? They like to call what happened to Charlie or the murderous attempts on Trump isolated incidents, as if they happened in a vacuum, when it's the complete opposite, the results of a very public brainwashing. But a right-winger committing violence has no narrative preceding it. The violence is almost always internal, not sanctioned from above. But the Dems who dismiss their homicidal allies, they're like the dope in the shallow end of a swimming pool, believing it's not a problem that some weirdos are in the deep end. No, it is your problem. You're all in the same pool, and that is coming for you. Let's welcome tonight's guest. When he wants to party, he puts on Christopher Cross at a reasonable volume. Fox News contributor Tom Shalhoub. She's the star of Undercover Billionaire, which is not about Elon Musk making a Dutch oven. California entrepreneur and TV personality, Ellen Kulati. If you hate large crowds, you'll love seeing him perform. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. And she's so thin, she wears her wedding ring as a belt. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tiff. Tom, I want to compliment you. You are a rarity among white supremacists in that you're a nonviolent one. Wow, they didn't like that at all. Why do you think the Dems are so fascinated with the premise of violence against Republicans? You've been around the block.
Yeah, look, it's great. I love what you said, that private texts are private. That's not what gets you angry, right? Because we all know that. And the more telling thing is that Democrats now are they're silent. And you know why? Because it's late in the game, because the election is only in a few weeks. If this were the spring, every Democrat would say he has to step down. We know they're a bunch of phonies.
It's a timing issue.
Yes. And this guy, and then he comes out and he says, oh, I'm sickened. He said, when I read those texts, I get sick to my stomach. But he's not sick to his stomach because of shame. He's sick to his stomach because it's going to hurt his chances of getting elected.
Yeah.
We know what a phony he is. And it's not going to work for Democrats because this guy wants to go into law enforcement. But we all know Democrats, they don't want to enforce the law. Mm-hmm. If a Republican got caught doing this, he could actually take a very Trumpian kind of approach. He could have said, yeah, so what? I talk tough. I talk like a gangster because I put gangsters in jail.
Yeah.
But, that would work. He's like, I want to be the law enforcement, officer of this state. And so if you're a criminal, I'm going to put your head in a vice and I'm going to twist it. Now, do I really mean I'm going to put your head in a vice? No, but I'm going to put you in jail. Elect me. And it would work. But it doesn't work for this guy because we know he doesn't want to put the criminals in jail.
Interesting point, Shalhoub. I kind of zoned out there, but it's okay. Thank you. Thank you. They're applauding me, not you, Tom. Elaine, welcome to the show. I saw you on Adam Carolla, and I said, that lady would be good on this show.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
so
love
don't
Adam.
screw it up.
God, try not to.
Yeah, yes. So why hasn't this guy pulled out? Have you been following this story?
I have been following it. I mean, I just think that it's unbelievably irresponsible that they don't ask him to step down.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, if it's 2 bullets to 1, it's going to be called suicide anyway. I don't think the whole thing is just a shadow ban him.
Shadow ban?
Shadow ban him.
Yeah.
And also Republican murder. He's obsessing about Republican murder. Has he fantasized about other Republicans being murdered?
Yeah. Well, he did. There was some story about him saying that maybe more cops should be killed because then that would get them to do their job better or something like that. So this is clearly something he likes to think about. I think he's trying to be street.
Oh, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like,
didn't he call her when she told him to leave? He called the girl.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you don't just send text messages and then you double down and you call and instead of saying sorry that wasn't for you.
Yeah.
You call and you say, maybe it is for you after all. Maybe we should chat. Where are you on this?
Yes. You know, Jamie, this must remind you of the texts you get from your children.
Yep. And I call them, and then they double down. Just like this guy. I think we can all agree, the things that he texted, if he's texting this, what is going through his mind?
Yeah.
Right? Like, for you to text. And I think we could all agree it's disgusting. And I think the whole thing about 2 bullets in this guy's head, if Hitler was in the room, I think we'd all also agree that's a bad use of bullets. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could easily save one for Hitler. I don't want people. I don't want people. By the way, I learned a ton from your monologue. I learned a ton. I learned you could say dick pic on TV.
Yep. You know how you get around that? You say that it's a picture of a guy named Dick, and they're like, the censors can't do.
Oh, that's really good. I thought for sure you meant a guy's dick.
No. I was talking about, like, Dick Sargent from Bewitched.
Yeah.
Dick Armey, the Republican.
By a guy's dick, I meant his private investigator that he hired.
Yes. Like Jim Rockford. He was a private dick.
Yeah, that guy's dick.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy. Are you done? I wish you were Tyrus. You know why? Because I want to ask you a black question.
Bring it on.
All right.
I'm just kidding. I don't want to.
I almost went there. So, Kat, you're from Detroit, so you're almost black.
I'm Polish.
You're Polish?
Yes.
I have a feeling that this guy was trying to act street. And that's why he was like, you know, when people, they do this stuff when they're texting, I'm a real badass, maybe had a few drinks in him.
Yeah, I think he, God, I hope he was drunk.
Yeah.
I hope this isn't what his sober texts are like. I'd hate to see the drunk ones if these are the ones he's sending, like when he wakes up in the morning and is having his coffee.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking a lot about this. Can you imagine what it must have been like for him to give his wife the heads up that this was coming out, right?
Yeah.
Was he like, hey, babe, like, he definitely started with, hey, babe. Like, hey, you know, there's some text that's coming out, and she's probably like, how could you cheat on me, you bastard? And then he was probably like, oh, no, it's not that. And she's probably like, okay, well, that's good. Then we can get through anything. And then, I don't know these people, but I'm guessing he probably would take a long pause after that. And he would probably say something like, yes, but I was fantasizing about the murder of other people. And then she was probably like, I don't know how it could get worse than that. And then he probably took another long pause. And then he probably had to be like, and also the children.
Yes.
I mean, I just like you said, I think it's so bad. I think it's so bad to publicize private texts.
Yeah.
Everyone here, all of you, including all of you, have stuff on your phones that would ruin your life if it became public. That's just how texting works.
Yes.
And I also understand wanting to kind of defend someone who you've known for a long time. But if this was somebody who I knew for a long time, I think I would at least have a conversation within myself about who this person was that I was close to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is as bad as it gets.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything on my text that even come close to this.
I mean, yours are far worse.
Yes, that's true. They're not even, my texts aren't even close to this. Way
worse.
Way beyond. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.